In this video, we are going to create our search bar, and this search bar will allow us to type in any movie of our choice, and we should see results based on what we've just searched for. So head back to PHP Storm, and we are going to create since we're creating a search bar, it would be a form. So we're going to create a form in our source directory. So form, not movie API, new file, and we're going to call this, let's call it movie search. Very self-explanatory. And let's go off with the basics. I'm just going to fast forward this bit. Okay, so we've got our class. It provides a search input field, but as you can see, PHP Storm is complaining about something. It wants us to add our method stubs. So if you're using PHP Storm, you can easily highlight the hover above the red line and then click this. And we need all of these methods. These are mandatory methods. All right, so our form ID is going to be very simple. Let's return movie search. And in our build form, this is where we create our form itself. So let's go ahead and start with the field, the input field. So form, oops, if I can spell form. And this field is going to be the search term field. And again, we are going to give it a type. I'm not sure why I said it again. We're doing this for the first time. Type is going to be text field. Next line, we then want to give a placeholder. Let's give it a placeholder of, I don't know, let's do Shazam, right? Shazam. This is actually not good practice. If you are doing this properly and professionally, you want to put this within a translate, so that will be T. So this prepares the site for translations. We want to set the attributes to autocomplete off. So attributes, this is just a personal thing. Attributes, we're going to set autocomplete off. So you know when you're filling in forms and you click on a particular field, it then starts giving you options or maybe something from your past. We want to turn that off. Let's give it a class. I'm just showing you how to add classes to it. So in case you want to give it a particular styling, you can search button, you can add another class, search field. The classes aren't really important. And then we're going to give it a title. And oops, sorry, I forgot to the comma. Title, we could call it search for a movie. And then we want to return form. But if once we return this form, we're just going to have a text field. There is no way for the user to actually submit the field. So we are going to add a submit button as well. So again, form, and this is going to be submit. We set our type to be in submit. We set our value. This is the value that appears, the text that appears on the search button. Let's give this, let's call it search. Very simple. Again, I'm going to show you how to add attributes, again, similar to what we've done here. So attributes, we're just going to add a class. I won't do any styling on this. Maybe I will. Let's see how we go. Again, you want to do search, oops, search BTN, or maybe another class like Benjamin. This is just to show you how to add classes to any variable, sorry, any text or field type you add here. So we are going to leave our submit form empty for now. What we want to do is actually display this form on our page here. So in order to do that, we are going to head back to our movie listing page, and we are going to utilize the content variable. We're going to take advantage of that. So rather than creating another variable in here and then having to go into terminal and then clear caches, we're going to use an existing variable. So within content, we're going to create search. So that's search. And what we're going to do here is use the Drupal form builder to get our form. So /Drupal form builder, and then we're going to get the form. And what we're going to place here is the class of our form. So in this case, this would be Drupal, then the name of the module that you're using. So in this case, movie directory, and then another /form, because this is where our form class resides, and then movie search. Oops, movie search. It's very important you get this right. Now that I've got it right, PHP Storm has identified it. If I hit command on my keyboard and then click, it takes me to our movie search class. So head back to movie listing class, and let's tidy this up. So now that we've got our form, we've assigned our form to a search variable within our content variable, and we can now access search within our movie listing templates, similar to what we've done here. So content.movies, which we get from here, content movies. We're going to do the same thing here, content search. So back to our movie listing templates. At the very top, let's create a div and give it a class of movie search bar. And then we're going to just simply render content.search. And let's head back to our browser and let's hope we get a search. Nice. Okay, so we're seeing our form. So now if I search for, let's think of a movie, or just copy. Okay, let's search for Creed, right? If I search for Creed, this is going to give us an error or nothing at all, because we haven't actually hooked up our form to our API. So in order to do that, head back to your PHP Storm or whatever IDE you're using. We're going to go back to movie listing class, and we're going to create a new variable, and let's call this one search term. This will be a public variable, so search term. And what we actually want to do is something unique. So let's say, for example, we want the user to be able to go to movie-listing / the Creed, right? We should be able to display every movie that has the word Creed in it. In order to do that, we have to amend our routing file. So head back to your routing file and let's give it a search term variable. So in the movie listing, we're going to have curly brackets search term. And then let's head back to movie listing. So we've initiated our search term variable here. We then need to go further down and then start saying what this search term is. So in your view method, we are going to have, and again, let's do this above the create movie card method. So let's have this search term is equal to search term. So search term actually comes here. Whenever we create a placeholder or variable within our URLs, we have to pass that same method, or text rather, we have to pass the same text to our view method. So if I was to have something like node, I would have to make sure that in my view method, I'm also displaying, I'm also passing node as well, but we're not using node for now. We simply just want to pass the search term the person has entered. So if we go back to our routing file, we want to get rid of this, make this a bit bigger. Yeah. Head back to movie listing, and now we've made sure that anytime someone enters something here, Creed, so let's go back to Chrome. Anytime someone enters Creed here, we are then displaying any movie related to Creed on this page. So let's clear caches for now and then refresh that page to see that it's working as expected. We won't see create movies just yet, but we just want to make sure we're seeing the movie listing page again. Nope, we have an error. So let's find out what's happened. Some mandatory parameters are missing. Search term. Okay, so it looks like we're missing something. I'm not sure what we're missing. So we've passed movie listing, search term, movie listing. Doesn't like create. Let's try Shazam, maybe? No. I've just realized what it's complaining about. We are, I'm not sure if you watched a previous video, we created our pagination. And in our pagination, we passed in these particular like URLs. However, as we are generating them, search term is actually a mandatory value now. So we need to pass the search term value to this particular pagination item here. So in order to do that, we would just after our routing machine name, add a comma, and we're gonna say create curly brackets and search term. So underscore term should equal, and we're gonna do content.search term. And what we'll do is pass the search term to our content variable in our movie listing class. So just over here, I think I'll do just above it, content search term. And rather than using what we've passed into the URL over here, we're actually going to get it as a parameter, because maybe perhaps at this point the user is searching with our search field rather than placing it within the URL itself. So we are going to write start with the trailing slash Drupal root match and get parameter, and we want to get search term. Now let's head over to a browser and hope for the best. I've just realized what the error was. Right now we're telling Drupal that search term is a mandatory value, but we can change that by giving it a default. So no, sorry, you don't need a underscore. Search term should equal, still typing PHP, should be blank. And then let's clear caches. So Josh CR, and then head back to our browser and refresh this, and it should no longer complain about search term being blank. The reason why it was doing that is because we have something in our movie listing template files where we are not passing search term. As you can see, I'm passing search term here, but I'm not passing it here. Or am I passing it here? We need it to be blank and not compulsory. So now we come back, you can see everything's loading as expected. We're not actually expecting Shazam to just show up all over the place, because we have not connected this form to our movies list just yet. Head back to PHP Storm. Let's go to movie listing, and then let's start connecting our search term to our movie list. So similar to how we created our pagination, we connected our current page to the movie API. We also need to let this thing know what our search term is. So in the list movies method, we want to pass another term, or another argument, sorry, and this argument is going to be our search term. And let's go into this, and this is then going to be search term. So now what we're going to do is amend the query. So if search term does not equal blank, so as you remember, this is our default value that we have in our routing file here. We don't want it to be blank. If search term does not equal blank, then we are going to have access a new endpoint. The reason I know this is because I've been doing this for a while and I know the endpoint off by heart, which is 3/search/movie. Please do have a look at the movie database API. I'll add a link to that in the description below. So that's our new endpoint. We are no longer going to this. We are now overriding that endpoint to be in this. And we are also overriding the options. So options, query, and it's really strange. We have to add query again. And our query is going to be search term. And that's it. He says hopefully. So let's head back to our browser and let's refresh this and let's see if this works. Nice. So we are seeing everything Shazam related. We've got some broken images there, but that's sadly nothing to do with us. It's probably to do with where the images are coming from. Let's search. Now let's use our search bar. Let's search for what's some Avengers. I'm a big fan of Avengers. And then search. And that's not working. So let's head back to code and figure out why. So let's head back to our movie listing and let's see what we can debug here. So this is working, which is fine. We now need to understand why search term is no longer working. So let's head over back to our movie search class, and it's because we have an empty submit form. What we want to do here is we want to, as soon as the user clicks submit, we want to redirect the user back to the this page, but with whatever value they've placed here to be here. So in order to do that, we need a few things. We need to know the route's name. And again, by now you should know what the route name is. It is the machine name within our routing file. And we want it to be this. So copy that, paste that there. It's best to just copy and paste so that you don't start debugging hours and hours to find that you've missed off a letter. Then we want to get the search term, whatever the user has entered in here. So in order to do this, let's create a variable, call it search term, and we're going to use form states to get the value, which is this thing here. So we're going to use get value method, get value, and then we're going to pass it the key, which is search term. Again, I recommend copying and pasting. Now we are going to say if the search term, if the search term is not empty, then let's redirect the user back to the browsing page, the movie listing page, but with our new search term. So we're going to return a form state set redirect, and the redirect it's asking for the route's name, which we already know. So route's name, and we are then going to pass it the route parameters. In this case, it's going to be search term. The reason why it's search term is because that is what we have placed here. If it was search terms, then we would have to come here and make sure that we have an S at the end, but we don't need to. So let me get rid of that and head back to movie search. And then this should equal search term. I feel like I've said search term a lot. Okay, so we're going to get rid of this. And let's head back to our page. And let's search for Avengers one more time. So Avengers. There we have it. Every movie about Avengers is coming through.